Daniel in the flesh. We're live, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those fun things. Welcome to the show, man. How we doing?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me. That's a great start. I think I'm going to like it here.
So I like to just jump right into things, and something that I think will be a fun topic for you is that the majority of chiropractic clinics lose patients after the third visit. And I know you have a personal story that resonates with this pretty deeply, and I'd love to start there. Like, why does that happen? What's going wrong? Where are people messing up, and how does that relate to your personal life?
Because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. I don't really know how to put it any other way. I mean, let's see. You want to learn how to juggle, so I guess you follow a process. You go on YouTube and find someone who knows how to juggle, and so you follow the steps. You put two balls in one hand, no other reference than juggling, please. Mine's in the gutter, I'm pretty sure. There's always one of you. Ball in the other hand. Throw one, transfer one, throw the other. There's like a process to like juggling. There's a process to setting up side posture on a fifth lumbar acute lower back. Like, we have a protocol, a process to that we learned at some point, step by step by step. You feel me, Corey?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. When it comes to sales, number one, if you can stomach that word, congratulations. Number two, some reason, sales is like something you fucking wing. It's like, I'll go in there and I'll just be a nice guy and I'll cite PubMed, Article 14/B, subsection 7A. And then all of a sudden, they're going to all lay down and say yes, and they'll hang on every word, and I become the instant authority, and they're going to pay me lots of money, and I'm going to ride off to the sunset with my 2 houses in the Bahamas. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, how did sales become this esoteric, like, thing that either people are born with or not born with, right? And so that's why you lose them. First 3 visits. The most important visits, by the way, in any business, Corey, right? It's not just our business. In any business, you fuck up the sales process, you're done. You ask any high-level Fortune 100 CEO, anyone who knows anything about business. I can quote Mark Cuban, all the people you guys know, like Shark Tank and all those people. There's a ton of other very successful business people in a myriad of different industries that I can have them quote saying on many other channels, like, sales is the one skill that they give the most credit for their success. And somehow, when it comes to chiropractors, they can't even say the word because their view of sales is so fucking antiquated. Because you listen to some guru back in like 1980 and a freaking, polyester scrub top telling you doctors can't sell, doctors shouldn't sell. Fuck that shit. Like, that messed us up, when other healthcare services that are doing more harm, I don't want to name names, you all know who I'm talking about, are outselling chiropractors 100 to 1. And they're selling a shit product. And for some reason, when we talk about selling chiropractic, that's unethical. I mean, that is an absolute biggest contradiction, I think, in our profession. And we got to stop. So how's that for an intro, Corey? Are we okay?
I like the energy, my man. Have you? I don't want to date myself too much, but have you seen the movie Matilda?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I think that's where so much of this perception of sales came from, is the dirty auto sales guy that's rolling back the speedometer on the car and trying to sell you some piece of trash. And like, that's our perception, right? When people hear sales, they see that. They see the used car salesman that's trying to scam them.
And I don't blame them, right, Corey? I don't blame them because excuse me. If you really think about it, what gets press in sales is bad sales. Like, good sales doesn't get press. There's nothing exciting about it. And good sales is actually like anything else. When it's done well, it's very kind of boring. It's just like, it's a process, right? But like, when you go into the ethos and you look for like bad examples of sales, there's no shortage. But let me be clear. People who are selling lemons, plaid jacket, big fat tie. I'm going to date myself for a second. WKRP in Cincinnati. Okay. Corey, that's before your time. I'm pretty dang sure. Other of you are listening. You're like, I remember that, right? Big plaid jacket, big fat tie, right? Schmoozing and be like, hey, what's it going to take to get into this car? It was like this. Like, that's entertaining because it's so bad, right? And the other thing is, that's not sales. Okay, I'll tell you what that is. That's called manipulation and sometimes borderline fraud. That's what that's called. And so when you talk about sales, there's good sales and there's bad sales. And the bad sales I don't even consider sales. That's just straight up fraud and lying. But real sales is something completely different. Hopefully we can delve into what actual real sales is. But I got to make sure we differentiate that. And I think a lot of people that are listening right now that are allergic to the word sales, I'm talking to y'all. You're only allergic to it because you have a really bad programming on what actual real sales is. And that's why you're so allergic to it and you try to get away from it. And that's a problem because those people, and I'm sure you're listening, you'll never even do the first step on learning what real sales is. And that's a detriment to you and your business. I'm just to let you know. At best, you'll plateau. You're mediocre at best. You will never scale and build to the way that you want to be. But hopefully, I'm preaching to the choir, Corey. I think your listeners are a little bit more sophisticated than that, right?
Yeah, and we will get into that, and definitely want to walk that path with you and help people reframe some of this stuff and get some tweaks and insights. But before we do, can we maybe go back to the early days and humanize you a little bit? Walk us through like what happened when you almost actually completely walked away from chiropractor.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I was about 18 months out. I had a wonderful mentor. But I thought I was just a shit, right? So I was like, I don't want to do an associateship. I want to start building my practice right off the ground. He's like, cool, man. I love the energy. I love your ambition. And I had big dreams and I was gonna just take over the world with this thing called chiropractic. I'm gonna spin atlases like there's no tomorrow. I mean, I was just jacked, right? I was just so excited. Life University, 2001 graduate. So I am from the home of the Falling Keys and Sid Williams, and everyone should know that era, or if you're old enough. Uh, so I went into practice, and the first 18 months, I got really good at pounding the pavement, getting new patients in. Doing street fairs in New York City with a little generator to run the substation. It was awesome. I used to go door to door with my card and be like, yeah, I had no problem doing that because I knew going in I needed to do that. So I wasn't that naive to know I didn't need to do that. I did killer ads. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was like putting an insert in the local paper. I mean, I did all that stuff, and I knew I was just not busy and I was just doing our thing. And so 18 months in, so we're talking 18 months of just grinding, new patients and new leads, etc. I landed a talk at a local church. And it was part of the Archdiocese of New York City. And for those of you who know New York City, the Archdiocese is the single biggest landowner in New York City. Like,
Hmm.
they're incredibly huge, right? So it's a lot of people, a lot of property, and it's called Catholic Charities, and it's their humanitarian division of the Archdiocese. I'm not Catholic, so I had to learn all this stuff. So I go to do this talk. I think there were like 100 people in the room. There were nuns, there were administrators, there were priests, there were teachers and plumbers and electricians for the Archdiocese. It was just packed, right? So I must have given the most incredible talk of my career to that point, right? I was fired up and I was telling the story and I was making it real for them. And they were like, I had them in tears at one point. I was telling a story about, something happened with my family and how I did all that stuff, right? And of course, at the end, I was trained well in marketing, and I was like, they need a call to action. So I said in the closing, listen, I came here with my assistant, and I which I had to bribe with, like, I think it was Taco Bell. I was like, "Oh, I'll buy you Taco Bell. Just can you come with me?" She's like, "Okay, okay, okay, doc." So I take her with me, and I was like, I reserved, I don't know, a dozen spots in my office. By the way, I've seen nobody. My my calendar is wide open. If you schedule now, we get the exam for no charge with X-rays, blah 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 blah. If you want that, go see Marisol, and she will do her thing and find you a time. I mean, I wish I had an iPhone back then because I would have clicked off picture. The line of people looking to make an appointment with Mari. I was like, Corey, I've arrived. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, I was like, oh, I have finally made it in my life, right? Like all the work and all the school and all that stuff, I made it. So we come back. I mean, Taco Bell, man, we're doing like Panera Bread. Okay. I mean, we had to step it up. So we go and we eat and we high five and we go back and I'm like waving the schedule in the air and my mentor at the time he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, you go, you fucking go. Or it was high five and it's like an episode of Suits if they won a big case. It was awesome. So here we go. So now let's see. Let's do the math here. I probably took down about 40 to 50 new patients in like a 2 or 3 month time period, right? And I was back to back to back. That's how many I had. So typical show raise is what I learned about show raise. I have like 40 to 60 people. The first ones usually show up, and then afterward, it kind of fizzles down. And then at the end, I think I was like maybe 35, 40 new patients in like 8 weeks. Just wrap your head around that one for a second. I'm busy. And I'm getting them in. I'm doing my thing, and I'm a gondroid by trade, so I'm fucking scoping. They're all like gowned up and stuff. I'm marking their stuff with the thing and taking 14 by 36s, and I'm drawing lines, and I'm doing all that stuff. It's great. It was so great. And by the way, I'm already looking for my new apartment in New York City. I'm already bought my new car. I've already done. Me and my wife are like, we're making plans for the money that we don't have yet. Fast forward 2 months, out of that many new patients that are coming in, I think I had like, I have to look at the stats, but I had like 5 or 6 or 7 patients still with me after 2 months. Most of them just said flat out no to me to begin with. The others that did say yes probably hung out for about 2 to 3 visits and then ghosted me. And remember, you wouldn't remember because you weren't there. My initial recommendations were way more than 2 to 3 visits, right? They were 12, 24, 36 because I had a corrective care style of practice that I was trained on. And so at the end of all of that, I just fooled myself into being grateful that only 6 of them are still with me. And I realized I had a serious problem. So if was there the lowest time of my life, that was probably then. And so, you know how it goes, right? You go into denial. You're like, it can't be me. It can't be me. It can't be me. Because I went to school. I got good grades, A pluses. Look at me. It's a part of my genetic makeup. We get A pluses or nothing, okay? I took my boards. I was an Offers of the Gonsa Study Club. I made my homage to Mount Horeb every single year, kissed the trolls, and I kissed ass, and I learned how to friggin' give a cervical chair adjustment P to A at C6 with torque. I mean, I learned everything I needed to do. I got my license to practice. I did everything I was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So it can't be me. So then what happens? Well, pity party starts, and then I was like, well, if it's not me, then it must be chiropractic. It must be the thing that I signed up for. I must chosen the wrong profession. That's my bad. Well, what happens when you've already made a decision? You go online. Yes, we did have Google back then. And then I Google, is chiropractic legit? Well, yeah. What do you think you're gonna get? I don't know. Corey, do you remember? Do you know what Quackwatch is? Quackwatch.com. It's still up. Yeah, give that a gander. It's just for entertainment purposes.
Well, I mean, just go on Reddit. You'll probably find the same thing.
Oh, same thing, right? Reddit. Well, I think Quackwatch. Reddit is way more kinder about it than Quackwatch. But Quackwatch was run by a guy named Stephen Barrett, MD, and he was the first like anti-chiropractic, advocate, right? And he was like anti-quack, whatever. So of course I'm reading all that shit. I'm like, well, no wonder it's not me, it's chiropractic. So what do you do then? It's like, well, I got to get out. So I'm looking at all these other opportunities at that point. My dad did real estate in New York City. He wanted me to manage one of the buildings, and I often think about that fork in the road. And the joke is, if I had actually done what my dad wanted me to do, I think I'd actually be a billionaire right now, right? If I did that, right? And then I'm thinking, well, thank God I didn't do that, right? No, seriously, because I know what that kind of lifestyle that is, and it wouldn't be as fulfilling as it is for me today. I know I made the right decision. I say that emphatically with as much honesty I can say. And then I go back there and I was thinking, if I actually quit, what would actually happen? Because it was really on the cusp, Corey. I was just about to go into my mentor's office. Like, I'm out of here. I was just about to set up the next opportunity for me to get out of chiropractic. So here I am, man. That was, let's see, that was in 2003. It was 2003. That's, what is that? How many years ago that was when that happened? So yeah, you almost
What
lost one.
what would you yeah. What's the one thing you would have said to yourself back then if you could go back to yourself in that moment?
Well, emotionally speaking, I would tell myself, bro, you're gonna be okay. It's okay, and I would give myself a hug. I was like, I know you're in a bad spot, man. Like it's all good. Everything is temporary, okay? The good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. And you don't see it now, but hey, man, just head up, do what your heart desires, do what's right, no matter what, the way that you were brought up. You're gonna be okay. Okay. Just don't do it by yourself. Go out and talk to people,
Mm.
which is exactly what I did, which turned this whole thing around.
Why did you go so far outside of the chiropractic industry to learn sales, right? I think that the most people would just be looking to other people within the industry to learn their exact process, but
Mhm.
you did way more than that. I mean, I don't know if it was because of the pain of just like being so terrible at sales or because you saw opportunities where other people didn't, but I'm curious as to like why and then what you learned from that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything other someone else didn't. So of course I went inside my own industry. I did. Once I realized I had a sales problem, then well, that's a story on of itself. We don't have time for that. But initially, when I was like presented with a sales problem, like fuck you, I don't. Doctors don't sell. So I went through all that shit, right? Eventually, I came to terms with the fact that I sincerely do have a sales problem. I mean, I give a great service. I can fulfill any promise or outcome that I'm trying to get as long as they stick around with me long enough. I had a wonderful facility, right? I had a staff. I had everything, right? Um, but I had a sales problem. So once I admitted that to myself, and that took about a year. Okay, it's another story. Then, of course, I went out and looked for it. And when I did look for it, of course, there were people in our profession that were teaching it. So, of course, I hooked up with them, paid them a ton of money, and they teach me. Cool, here I go. Unfortunately, it was not sales training. I mean, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to tell you. Jumping off of a 12-foot pole with a harness on is not sales training.
What?
I'm sorry. I know. It's hard to believe. Okay? Walking on coals, hot coals, is not sales training.
I see.
Bending rebar with your episternal notch is not sales training.
I see.
Now, listen, I don't have anything against that stuff. I do it too, but I do it for a different purpose, right? Right? It, it's not teaching me a skill. So I did all of that, and I did it for a while. I spent a ton of money. And at the end of the day, Monday and Tuesday are great. Wednesday, I still suck. Back to the juggling thing, right, Corey? Like, if someone tells me you're the best fucking juggler in the world, you can do it. You can do it. Walk on coal, jump off poles, bend rebar. I mean, I could fool myself thinking I can juggle on Monday and Tuesday. By Wednesday, reality hits. I still cannot juggle. It was a skill gap. And I think before I die on this earth, if I could just impart onto my profession that sales is a skill like any other skill that you try to learn. I don't care if it's playing piano for at a recital. I don't care if it's juggling. I don't care if it's marketing. It's a skill. And the funny thing is, Corey, is that marketing is a thing. I mean, it's a technique, it's an art, it's a science, all wrapped up into the one, is it not? Right? Adjusting, giving a chiropractic adjustment, that's a thing. We go to school for that. We spend energy, time, and money to learn how to do that. Whatchamacallit? Accounting, that's a thing. There's majors for that stuff. It's schools at academic institutions at any level, all the way up to a doctorate, I'm pretty sure. When did sales become not a thing is my question. Sales has always been a thing. People have studied it. People have learned it. There is a technique. There is a framework. There is a template. Okay, it's called a whole bunch of different friggin' things, which is probably adds to the confusion of the sales industry. Because you got behavioral economics. Oh, fuck you. It's sales. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. Or how about this one? Conversions. Well, can you stop and give me a friggin' break? Okay, stop trying to make sales. I understand some negative brand equity, but if it walks like a dog and it talks like a dog, it's a fucking dog. Is my situation here. Let's stop pretending. It's a skill. It's a fundamental skill. Anybody can learn it. Now, some are going to be way better than others. I understand that, but is that different than anything else? You and I could both learn how to play golf from the ground level. Never picked up a club before, right? And Corey, you look more athletic than me. Probably going to be better at it at the same time frame of learning, right? But everyone starts with a fundamental knowledge of a skill set. Sales is a skill set. Sales is a thing. It's not a mentality. It's not an attitude. It can be an art, but before it becomes art, it has to be a skill. You do that skill so good over time, then it becomes art. Oh my gosh. Like music. It's a thing. Like you start with like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You learn the scales. You learn the theory, you know? You learn, then you start getting good at it and you start realizing, ooh, look at that note there. Oh, that doesn't quite work. Oh, that's called dissonance. That's a thing. Just like blows my mind, bro. Like, I don't get it. How did it become not a thing?
I think what happens is I think most people make the mistake of thinking that they can rise to the occasion. And where I brutally learned this lesson is actually in the world of fighting and like combatives. Is that most people assume that when they're in a situation where they actually have to defend themselves or they're in a fight or all of a sudden somebody's like making some comments about their girl, their spouse, or whatever it is, they think that they can rise to the occasion, which is incorrect.
Yes.
You will actually fall to the level of your training. And sales is the exact same way, right? It's like most people look at it and they're like, yeah, I can just like rise to the occasion. I could sell anyone. I could sell this person. Yeah. And it's like, no, you will fall to the level of your training.
And do you know what that term is called, Corey? It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's already been named. Yeah, and totally. Because it's so esoteric, right?
Yeah.
You think you could do it, but you can't. So you're a fighter, MMA fighting? You're a fighter?
I've recently got into like Brazilian jiu-jitsu and like some pistols type stuff. I'm just trying to learn how to defend myself, I guess you could say. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a fighter, but yeah.
Amazing, but you're learning
Yeah.
a framework, a technique, a philosophy, right? And only when you get to a certain level of aptitude, right? Then the next level is a little bit more artistic. And then now you've earned the liberties to go outside the normal framework occasionally to pull something off in a situation that you had to improvise. Yes?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
100%. Okay. And in the music world, you take Jimi Hendrix, which is probably I think one of the most sophisticated improvisers for like, in the pop genre in the history of music. Okay. Especially for guitar. If you're a jazz person, I mean, come on, Miles Davis, like the king of improvisation, right? And we always give him so much clout for being the most incredible improviser. How do you come up with this? You're a fucking genius. You know what those two guys never get any credit for in the music world? How fundamentally technical they were and have been on the fundamentals of music. These guys were absolute serious technicians. Music theory, understanding the technicalities of music, right? Even their fingering and the way they move, it was so classic textbook. You ask any like high-level instructor, like perfect. Tiger Woods, the GOAT, right? His swing is on video in 1 million terabytes across the world, and every instructor like, that is textbook technicality perfect. Yet these guys make it art. So what you're saying, you think you could do it? Yeah, you're at the level of like art without having no skill. You know what that looks like? I mean, what would it look like for you to improvise on stage with a rock band, right? And you don't know how to play guitar.
100%. Yeah,
That's
people
why
think
you
that they could show up in a pinch, and it's like, no, you can't, and you
no, you
won't.
can't. No, you can't. I like to see it. I'm sure somebody could pull it off, but those are unicorns. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, that's why
Then
that's why the word talent, I think, is dangerous, and
okay.
that's why I don't really subscribe to it very much. Is like, I think, yeah, you have maybe some sort and proclivities of things that you're a little bit better than or a little bit worse than people, but I think the word talent is actually really dangerous because that's the assumption that somebody was just born with these things, which is
Yes,
inaccurate.
correct, 100%. Certain things are innate, certain things are not. Sales is certainly not innate. It's sales. You know why it's so hard? It's counterintuitive.
What do you mean by
It's
that?
very counterintuitive. You want an example?
Yeah.
All right. Patient comes in, or fuck it, forget patient. Let's say client comes in, customer comes in, whatever. And they say something like, well, I don't know if this is going to work for me. I don't think I want that. Do I have to come here 3 times a week forever? This is really expensive. Like all the things that people say. The initial reaction to that, okay, and this is a deep amygdala reaction. If this happened to 100 people not trained in sales, I would say over 90 out of the 100 would go into, well, let me explain to you why you want this. Let me explain to you the reasons, the logic behind why you should buy that teacup or why you should buy that brand of tea that Corey is drinking. Okay. Because the way the tea leaves are harvested deep in the Himalayan mountains. I'm not sure if no, not Himalayans, where the Peruvian mountains. They are picked with a certain level of care by a very special person. They are roasted in a very high-tech roasting tea thingamajiggy. You go into this constant justification and logic why this person is wrong for not wanting this thing. That's default. So now I'm saying, okay, A, don't do that. It's counterintuitive. Well, I should because I need to defend my position, right? I need to make an argument for the bro. You are not opposing attorney in a freaking court of law with a judge, okay? This is not your your legal drama that you watch. This is not how it works. So what do I do? Watch me. STFU. Do you know what that stands for? I don't know. Shut the fuck up. Don't say anything. What? What? Why do you? Oh my god! I want to bang my head against the mic. Sometimes it's like, what am I supposed to say? STFU. That means say nothing. Don't respond to it. No. Why should you? Why do you always have to justify yourself? Why do you have to always explain yourself? That is not a rule that says you have to. Your job is not to explain or defend yourself. When you're selling, your job is to figure out exactly what that person wants, needs, or desires in the shortest amount of time possible. That's it. And so if you're going to explain yourself, that violates one of the prime principles of sales is that you're making this fucking thing too long. And here's another principle. Time kills all deals. Docs, if you're doing day ones that are like an hour long because it's a whole dog and pony show with a freaking, video in an office tour of your 900 square foot of office, like you're doing it wrong. So it's counterintuitive, It's like, so I don't say anything. No. What do you say when someone says, "Oh, why is it so expensive?" Well, nothing. How would you respond to that, Dan? I'm like, I'd be confused. What do you mean? I don't know, because that's just what it costs. They're like, huh? Let me ask you a question. If you went to Starbucks and you bought a super duper venti thingamajiggy frappuccino and it comes up as $11.42, and you ask the barista, why is it so expensive? What do you think they would say? Oh, confused look. In case you're listening to this on audio, confused tone, because that's what it costs. What? Why do you have to explain yourself? Why do I have to come 3 times a week? Confused look. Because I sincerely am confused when I get that question. I don't get it often, but when I do, I'm like, because I'm sorry, because that's what it takes. I don't know what else to say. Mr. Endodontist, why do you have to root canal it? Dentist. because that's what it needs. That's what needs to happen. I don't know what else to say. It's just, I know I know I'm being kind of glib here, but I mean, my job is to penetrate you right now. Like, I want to inject myself literally into the middle of your brain and reprogram this thing called sales, at least in the time that we have, or else I'm not really doing my job, you know?
What do you think is the biggest thing that people have to unlearn to get to, like, I mean, I know you have clients that are hitting what, 85, 90% close rates. Like,
Oh,
I want
yeah.
to, before we get into like what docs need to learn to be good at sales, what do they need to unlearn? I think we should start there.
Yeah, unlearn. And I'm going to start with an adage that you've all probably heard a million friggin' times, but no one actually taught you how to do it. And that adage is, it's not about you. Like, I've heard it a million times, right? Well, it's not about you. It's about them. It's service. You have to serve. Like, I heard that. And I know you all kind of agree with that. So, what you have to unlearn is that it truly is not about you. The problem is, you know that intellectually, but what does it look like on a strategic level, on a tactful level, on a systems level? What does not about you actually look like? And I'll tell you right now. Is on a day one, now that we have AI, I use this a lot with a lot of our clients just to see. Because for years I've been saying you got to be speaking 20% of the time on a day one. Your patient should be speaking 80% of the time. Now, I've been saying that for years. So now with AI, I can actually put in a transcript of a typical day one, and then AI will determine like who's speaking, whatever. With the audio, I think I use Claude right now, or no, it's a different one because chat can't pick up like media for some reason, but they can whatever. So anyway, I go, hey AI, what percentage is person A speaking and what percent is patient B speaking, right? So we got an 80-20, right? When it's done well. The more that actually shifts where the doctor is talking more than the patient on a day one, we have a concurrent reduction in close rate on day two. Okay. So we have to unlearn. Shut the fuck up. Stop talking so dang much. Stop explaining so dang much. So the question is, wait a second. If I'm not talking about what I'm doing, I'm not talking about how good my shit is, then what the hell do I talk about? Well, I'll tell you right now. Is you ask very skilled questions that gets your patient to the fundamental reason and the problem and the want, need, or desire in the shortest amount of time possible. That is your job on a day one. You ask questions, be curious, even though you've seen this a million friggin' times. I get it. And shut the fuck up. Stop talking. So wait, Corey, hold on a second. I need some clarity. I'm curious. When you have that neck pain on the right side, is it only there? Does it happen to travel up, down, left, right, sideways? Like, I need some more clarity on that. I'm actually really curious. Listen, give me the long version of this. I got all the time in the world today, even though you don't. Some of you are listening to that and saying, whatever. The smart ones, sophisticated ones, listen to what I just said as a script, and you're saying this is absolutely fucking brilliant. You know why? Because number one, it's a complete pattern interrupt. Because every doctor in modern healthcare right now wants the short version. No one asks for the long version. Our communities, this world, is so desperate to tell their story, okay, in one form or the other, and they're desperate to find someone who's willing to listen to it. And here's a doctor asking for the long version. And by the way, for the person out there who sees 1,000 visits a week and 20 new patients a week, and you don't have time, the best way to get the short version is to ask for the long version. It's just an incredible paradox. You want the short version? Guess what you get? The long version. 6 o'clock on a Saturday? No. 6 o'clock on a Tuesday, you got to go pick up your kids. Or you have a date. Or you're doing something fun that evening. Or you got to go home and deal with the fire or whatever. You need to get out of the office by like 6:30. New patient rolls in at 6:10. You're like, shit. Oh, God, no. Patient comes in, they sit down, and you're like, okay, I got to bang this out quick. So you kind of rush the process a little bit. Guess what happens? Invariably, this person will not shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. It's the long version because you asked for the short version. Counterintuitive, right, Corey? Like, it's so counterintuitive. And so if you want to get better at this, You just got to get better at training yourself on resisting reflexes that you naturally grew up with. And it's training. It's repetition, repetition, repetition. When you get to a point where reflexively you're doing what's supposed to be done, as opposed to what your normal programming is telling you to do for mere survival.
I don't know if you follow any of Chris Voss's work, but for the listener that doesn't know who that is, he's basically, his background is in FBI, negotiations with like hostage situations where people's lives are literally in the hands. And he has a lot of great content and books, and that's why I actually studied him. Oh wait.
All right, so this is a book. This is Chris Voss, and that's one of my longtime friends and early clients, Dr. Norm Dabalis in Hawaii, and they collabed on a book. So we know Chris very well.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was going to say, one of the things that you're making me think of, which I'm sure you probably dive deep into this though, is the words that come to mind when you're describing this ability to, first of all, unlearn how to shut the fuck up and not talk so much, is what I think he would called tactical empathy. Yep. Which basically means is, I mean, people have heard this expression a million times as well before, but seek first, understand before trying to be understood, which I feel like that is the basis of so much of this, right? Is like,
no doubt.
I love the 80-20 thing. I've told this to a number of clients as well too, or other docs, is like just bringing in some sort of like recording device and just recording these and dropping those into AI, even just to get sales feedback. But also too, I didn't think about the 80-20 thing. Actually, that's a really good idea. But
yeah, we start, it's a number's a number, but I guess what I'm really saying is, without the metrics, is they got to be doing most of the dumping on you as opposed to you dumping on them, you know? And here's another story. For those of you, are you married, Corey?
Engaged. I'm going to be married.
Congratulations.
Less than 2 months, actually.
Fuck yeah, let's go. Welcome to the club. So I know how long you been with your girlfriend for?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, enough time. You ever fight with your girlfriend? You ever had like an argument?
I mean, okay.
Well, has she ever been mad at you for anything?
Well, yeah, I'm an idiot.
Okay, fine. Let's just go with that. Okay.
Yeah, I do dumb things. So
all right, thank you. You're a good husband in training. So like, I just give you my perspective is like, if I did dumb stuff, which I do often, okay, and my wife is legitimately mad at me, right? And I get home, I open the door, and she's like, "You're an asshole. You did this. You know, I can't believe you did this. You know, you're an asshole." And she's just throwing like whatever. All right. The worst thing you could do at that point is to be like, "Shut the fuck up. I didn't do that shit. I only did it because of XYZ ABC. It's your fault." Like, you're camping in your garage that night. You know what I'm saying? Like, like everyone knows that, right? Whether you can execute it or not is based on your skill level and your emotional aptitude and your tactical empathy. What's the appropriate way to handle that situation, Corey? Let's see. Well, I'll ask the husband in training. Like, how would you handle that?
I try to address all conflicts with curiosity.
Very good. See, a natural salesperson, because that's exactly what a day one is. It's a conflict. It may not be with you, but they're conflicted. You have patients come in, they're just fucking assholes, or they're class A bitches. Like, the unsophisticated novice is going to look at that and be like, "Oh, I don't like her. I don't like it. Like, this is not the place for him." Oh my God. This is conflict. They're dealing with conflict. So, like Corey said, you deal with it with curiosity. "Honey, I'm just curious. Like, I need to know exactly what I did so that I can help the situation. If you want help with it, I just need to understand first. So what happened?" "Well, you did this and you did this." I need more clarity. "When I did this, did I also do this?" "Yes, you little asshole." "Got it. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm curious now, right?" And she wants to throw shit at me. I'm like, I also follow John Gray. I think the most prolific relationship, guru in our times. He says, like, be an oak tree, and I always imagine myself as an oak tree when my wife is mad at me. Like, I have deep roots, right? I'm a big, strong oak tree, and a hurricane's coming, and I'm just like getting wailed around, and my limbs are like gonna fall off and shit, and all my leaves are like, 40 miles away because of the wind. But I'm not doing nothing but just being a tree, right? That's a day one. That is a day one. That is a sales process. Okay, for the people who actually study sales, it's called consultative selling. That's the classic name for it. There's a million names for it. I just call it sales because I'm just lazy. I don't want to rebrand this thing. I could if I really wanted to, but I'm just going to call a duck a duck. That's what sales is. That's all I got for that.
I like it, man. Yeah, I've been blessed in the sense that I'm a pretty stoic person, and I think it's made me pretty good at sales in general because I don't get torn away by the emotional, and I don't, to your point earlier, take a lot of things personal. But you're right. I think that most people do, right? Most people do get swept away by the tornado, and they get pulled into essentially the trap of
Yeah.
emotions that gets pulled into a conversation with somebody, because the second they throw a rejection at them, they think it's a reflection of them. They take it personal. They start defending
Mhm.
themselves, and all of a sudden they're sitting on opposite sides of the table instead of the same side of the table, trying to address the problem.
No doubt about it. Yeah,
Um,
I'm talking to a pro, by the way, and I'm gonna make go one step further. Your stoicism. What do you do if you're not a stoic? What do you do if you are very emotionally charged naturally as a person, right? What if you are borderline depressive and you're the other end of the spectrum? Then what do you do, right? So like certain personality types are just built like stoicism I like because it's just neutral. So your standard deviation where you go with it is just based around that center line. But let's be fair, people are people, right? So we have the incredible extroverts where their whole existence depends on their ability to be validated by an external person, right? We know they exist. Then we get the other side, we really don't give a shit about anyone. Maybe it's borderline what is it, sociopathic? You know what
yep.
I'm saying? Like, what do we do there? So if you're watching this, you're like, well, I'm an introvert, and by the way, I'm an introvert as well. I don't know, it doesn't seem like it, but I actually am. I'd much rather be by myself than with other people. Not because I don't like other people, it's just it takes more energy for me to be with people, right?
Same.
No, you and I are the same. But then like, what do you do with? Well, this is where it's beautiful. I don't care. In the music analogy again, I don't care if you want to play smooth jazz like Kenny G or Radio Voice, or you want to be a punk rocker, head slamming, heavy metal thing. We're all musicians, yes. We still have to be beholden to the fundamental natures of communication, optical communication, wherever you are on the spectrum of your personality type. And I say that because so many people out there is like, I can't sell because I don't like people. Well, I don't like people either most of the time, but I still have to do what I do, right? Or the people who are extroverted is like, I just don't think they like me. Why are they saying no? Maybe because you're trying so hard to be liked. Both ends of the spectrum. We have to all agree that there's certain fundamentals irregardless of whether or not you are this personality. And this is why I have a problem with the personality typing. Is because it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to sit there and give them a freaking Myers-Briggs or Enneagram them and then know what number they are and then have to shape shift for that number 3 or the number 6 that's coming in, or a driver or an amiable. And by the way, I think there's value in a lot of that stuff and I utilize it. But when it comes to selling, it's a really simple personality type. They're fucking human and they're coming in because they have a want, need, or desire, period. That's the personality type. It makes it very simple. Then I have a process to understand what they truly want, need, or desire, establish myself as an authority, a credible authority that's empathetic to their particular problem. They understand that problem in the shortest amount of time possible. Compress that shit on day one, like within the first 4 minutes. I'm not kidding. Get the emotional yes from your patient at that point. Everything else is gravy. Everything else just reinforces the expectations of what it takes to get this problem corrected, aka PVA, case value, what things cost. Yes, all that shit. That's the value building exercise. Getting the yes has to happen in the first 4 minutes. If we don't wrap our head around that's actually how sales works, then you'll always be wondering, what did I say at the end that made them say no? Nothing. You fucked up the front end, not the back end. You were always going to be too expensive once you fucked up the front on the day one. You're always going to be too much. You're always going to be asking for too much. Your commitment level is too low because you completely did not understand that this is the continuum of a sales process. This is how people make decisions.
Break that 4 minutes down for us. That's interesting. I think that would probably surprise the listener that you just said that how important the first 4 minutes of the conversation is, and that you want to get them to say yes within that first 4 minutes. I think that would surprise people.
Yeah, it would surprise people. Yeah. Well, for that, I'm gonna need $10,000,
Okay.
literally.
Yeah.
All right. Just kidding. Um,
Take Venmo.
100% ship it. Uh, and by the way, here's another thing we could talk about later. Is like I am not shy about money, so I'll joke about money. I give it no power because that's not really where the power lies. The power lies in what we're just talking about right now. Having them say yes in the first 4 minutes. By the way, I'm going to reframe or kind of correct you. They're not saying yes to me, right? They're not actually saying, "Oh, yes." They're saying yes to themselves. That's what I'm saying has to happen in the first 4 minutes. Okay. And we know that they're saying yes because we get things after the first 4 minutes like, oh my God, my last chiropractor didn't do this. Oh my God, like finally somebody, like, oh my God, I love it here. And they make excuses on why they love it here. Oh, I like the office dog, or I like your paint color. They don't like any of that shit, you know? They like it because something happened in the first 4 minutes that made them say, these are my people. I feel safe. I feel heard. And this person has enough authority, credibility, and experience to help me with my problem in the shortest amount of time possible. They're saying that to themselves, which is why that they justify it with logic. So I'm going to break it down. I think you nailed it, Corey. And I think you're one of the first podcast interviewers. By the way, you're a wonderful interviewer, by the way.
Thanks.
Uh, that said it. Curiosity. I'm telling you, curiosity in the first 4 minutes, if you can do whatever you do, you can ask them what color they like. It doesn't matter the question. If you can exude curiosity in the first 4 minutes, like genuine curiosity, where they're actually wanting to tell you stuff as opposed to you try to dig it out of them, you're good. It's very difficult to screw it up after that. So, for example, I gave you the example before. Hold on. You literally say, I'm curious. I'm Corey, I'm curious. And I've been thinking about this question when you answer the last question, but intentional pause, because that's what fucking curious people do. Corey, I'm curious. When you said yes to your girlfriend and you had proposed, I'm just curious, like, was it a planned thing? Was it a spontaneous thing? Or is it like kind of the movies? I'm just curious. Can you kind of walk me through like that whole process? Take as long as you want. I want the long version of this one. Shut the fuck up.
You know what I love about that pause, and I think people skip over that, is that I was actually listening to, I don't know if you ever listened to Chris Williamson's Modern Wisdom. It's one of my favorite podcast shows. But he asked a very thoughtful question to one of the other guests. And the thing that flashed in my brain was that if he answers that right away, I know he's not actually providing a good answer.
No doubt.
Right. And it's people underestimate that pause and that little glimpse of like, oh, they're actually thinking about this. This isn't something that you're just scripted. This isn't some bullshit thing that they've said a million times. This isn't something they pull out of their ass. This is something they're actually putting thought into. I actually love that. Actually, Elon's phenomenal at this as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He'll just stop talking for like a long period of time. And then you're like, whoa, okay. He just turned on his like processor in his brain and he's actually going to provide a valuable answer. It's the same thing, right? Like that's what you did is you're like, oh, he actually is curious. He actually took the time to think about this.
No
Very
doubt.
forgot about, but
yeah, it happens. We had a client once that used to be a radio DJ, right? And in broadcasting, like dead air is like death. You can get fired, which is kind of it says on air right now. I just got him thinking of on your recording platform. And so he had such a problem with like dead air, like with a day one or day two, and he just sounded like a rambler. And I'm like, you are the worst rambler I've ever met in my life, right? And when we work with our clients, like we have it set up where we work with clients, we get to know them intimately at the deepest level possible with the amount of people that we're working with, right? So we're not packing 1,000 people into a Holiday Inn, is what I'm saying. So I'm like, bro, you are the worst case of rambling I've ever seen. You're like an Aunt Marge, just talking and talking and talking. You repeat yourself. She's like, what the fuck? Like, what is your deal? We had you try to stop you and you keep going. Like there's a programming in there. I gotta know where it comes from. He's like, all right, dude, I used to be a radio DJ. I'm like, oh, dude, that makes a lot of sense. You gotta be off the cuff. And that's what makes a good DJ. Off the cuff, always talking, never having dead air. Even on podcasting, you had dead air. You're probably going to edit out the dead air. You know what I'm saying? Because in broadcasting, dead air means people are going to just move on. You lose. That's not how a day one works or a day two works. It's human to human interaction. There are dynamics in this. There's ebbs and flows. Here, another musical analogy. The most powerful note in music is the rest symbol. Looks like a squiggly squirrel. Okay. That is the most powerful thing. When I was learning music and piano lessons, because I got to be good at math, I got to play piano, I got to learn taekwondo and shit. So when I was doing piano lessons, my piano instructor was like, "That right there is a rest," and I would just ignore it, and she would stop me, be like, "You got to rest." The composer put it in there for a reason. It's dynamics. There's volume changes. There's tempo changes. And rests, because this is the normal dynamic of human to human communication that we give no shits about anymore, especially in today's society. Holy shit, that comment has aged so well. I've been saying that for 10 years, and now I can finally say I was fucking right. Like, we don't take any care in how we communicate, at least one-on-one. Forget one-on-many, that's a different level, but one-on-one, it's an art form that no one cares about anymore.
As we begin to land this plane, I'm kind of envisioning this sales as like a three-legged stool, and on one of the legs of the stool we have the ability to shut the fuck up and listen. On the other leg of the stool, we maybe have just the ability to be calm and present within the situation. If you were to put like a third leg on the stool of somebody that like really wants to master the art and the skill of sales, what would you say that would be?
All right, so the first leg, hold on, is
Shut the fuck up and listen.
STFU. Got it. Or active listening. The second stool is what?
Kind of what you're saying about being present, being calm, being confident, being trustworthy.
Okay.
I'm curious as to what that third leg would look like.
I think the third leg in that metaphor is going to be curiosity. I think that wraps it all up. Because you put all those things together, curiosity, active listening, which also includes not about you, right? And also, I guess the third leg for you would be what you mentioned as stoic, what I would also consider emotionally centered, right? And emotionally sophisticated or high emotional IQ. Put that all together, you have curiosity, you have problem and solution orientation, you have authority, not being authoritative, just being an authority in your space, which is very valuable. That also lends itself as credibility. That also ends itself wrapped up in an envelope of empathy. I mean, what more do you freaking need? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's your 90% close. There's your people not dropping out after 6 visits. There's your people not looking at you weird when you give them your care plan number and they like, oh my God, sticker shock. Like, that's gone. If that's all established, again, time is a factor. In the shortest amount of time possible, we have to compress that shit, increase the potential energy of this thing. So when it actually explodes, it just explodes. It's not just a slow thing. It's like a bam, holy shit. This dog has been, where has this person been? I got to send my whole family and my busload of hillbilly cousins here. I got to go. Like, this is the place. Like, that all happens where it's not even they don't think twice as much about the finances. Like, this is my solution. I need to do this, and I needed to have done this yesterday. And that checks all the boxes. If you think, if you're asking me that.
Last question: if you were talking to one of your clients and they were struggling with sales, they can't figure this out, they're doing those things that you just mentioned, they're like, well, I don't understand, like, I'm not talking, I'm asking a lot of questions, I'm doing this tactical empathy thing, but for some reason they're not converting or closing, or I'm still not making the sales. What's the most common thing that you see, or the challenge that people are not recognizing that they're doing, or when you work with your clients? I mean, there's got to be patterns, right, of these people that it's like the same thing over and over again. Like, what is it? What is the thing you keep seeing?
They just suck.
Skill.
I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm
No,
totally kidding.
maybe it could be.
No, no. Uh, most of the missing ingredients in all of those people is really is not intention. It's not empathy. It's not any of the things that you think it is. The biggest difference in those people is that they're not following a process, right?
Mm,
That is so in tune and normal for them. Where okay, put it this way: if let's back to sorry, I'm using the music analogy just because we've been talking about it. Is that if you're worried about what note comes next, or what the next chord changes, or what the next move is, then you'll never be able to connect with your audience, which is the whole purpose of music, right? It's to connect with the listener, right? There's a difference between making music and playing music, right? So you want to play it, you don't want to make it. So like they're so discombobulated in their head because they don't know the process, a proven process to follow, which frees them up to actually be human. That's the biggest thing I'm missing with these people. They're just so inward looking because they're so worried about what to do next, what to say next, like wondering if what I say was right, what I do is right, or should I do a 1-day process or a 2-day process? Should I take x-rays? Should I not take x-rays? Like all this stuff is constantly they're bobbing and weaving, trying to figure out the right thing to do. What's missing is like, who the hell's in front of you? Are you truly curious about this person's problem? Are you truly looking for a solution for them instead of worrying about your own shit? Because you're not prepared, you're not skilled. No one's walked you through the process that is absolutely field tested, bulletproof. I don't care what anyone says. We have the best sales process ever because it checks all the boxes. And when you just put yourself to there and you commit yourself to learning it, and you do so many repetitions like an athlete, a professional athlete, and it's just there, then you could make those really weird things where you see defenses that weren't there before. You look at the eyes of the quarterback and you know exactly where you're throwing. Like you get to do all those high level stuff. But again, if you're looking at just the steps every single day, I mean, that's the missing ingredient. And another problem with that, Corey, is that that's not sustainable. That's what burns you out. You know, you do that for a career. That's why we lose people. They just can't do it anymore. It's too much work to bob and weave and not know what to expect every single day that you have to go into the office. Oh my God, the drudgery. Can you imagine that? It's horrible.
I don't know if you've seen this latest technology, but they're helping people that don't have eyesight, where they're putting this like tiny little micro thin screen basically within their eyelid, and they're basically taking people that are blind and making them able to see again. The only reason I'm bringing this up, that probably sounds random as fuck, but
like
is it makes me think about, you're talking about this process, and I'm just thinking to myself of like, man, if one of these docs had one of these like little screens in their eye, and you're basically just like, follow the process.
Dude, they probably do better.
They would do way better.
They do way better, right? I mean, they won't do great because you got to know it by heart,
Sure,
but
sure.
they would do way better.
Well,
Or
if they didn't know, right? It's just like in their
right,
little like one eyelid. So like one eyelid
yeah,
could like be watching them, and the other one has this like sales process.
yeah.
Anyways,
You know what? Though you make a great decision. Maybe I'll just go to their offices and just do cue cards behind the patient,
you
or
should put one of those
two-way
like,
mirror.
that's what I was gonna say, or put one of those like pictures that
Yeah.
like is behind the patient, and then like it
Mhm.
like slides up, like
Yeah.
just a little like a remote, and it slides up, and the entire sales process is
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
screen, and then when they're done,
Exactly.
they like reclose it. Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, closeforchiro.com. You got a book, The Accidental Salesman. What's your plug? Where can people find you if people want the process and they want to dive
Um,
deeper into this?
well, thank you for asking. I'm everywhere. So if you visit our website, we'll probably follow you and track you. And so, you know, you'll see all our reels and stuff. Real Close for Cairo is my Instagram. That's a fun place to be. Our website has everything you need in there. We have the Taste for Close for Cairo, which is a bite-sized nuggets of a lot of the things that we're talking about on a strategic level. Our marquee offering is the 7-week online masterclass with a live component. Man, I love that process because I, I mean, what we teach is great, but how we teach it is even better. Because again, when you get into the perspective of people who are learning from you, like Kairos, we know you them so freaking well. Like the process of teaching you is so satisfying because it's finally a process that actually makes sense on something that you're trying to learn. You know, so I will be your juggle coach, and I'll know exactly why you can't juggle, and I will be your music coach because I know exactly why you can't hit those notes. and we'll do it so efficiently that you're doing it in the shortest amount of time possible, because time is a factor. We got to do this quicker. We can't take forever.
You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your training. Thanks for doing this, brother. Appreciate it, man.
My pleasure, Corey.